Can you ever imagine what our hospitals will be without nurses? You didn't know what to think of that, right? Indeed, it is difficult to imagine the healthcare system without nurses. Nurses are caregivers to individuals of all ages, playing an outstanding role in building a strong healthcare system since forever. These selfless individuals are integral to a strong healthcare system at all times. They serve as the bridge between you and the doctors, monitoring patients 24/7, organizing records, and educating patients. Their roles are too numerous to mention. Well, it is the International Nurses Week, and we will be probing the nursing profession in Nigeria and the need to strengthen it against the backdrop of exodus of healthcare practitioners. I am Frama Panyi, and this is Saturday Discourse on NTA Channel 5 Abuja. You are welcome. We begin with news stories. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, has appealed to relevant stakeholders in the building industry to evolve measures that will address grey areas impeding the full implementation of the city master plan. The minister made the plea at the retreat organized for the members of the Board and Executive Management Committee of the FCDA in Abuja. Onoze Yakubu completes the story.
Working out modalities towards incorporating key areas of the Abuja Master Plan in order to strengthen development of the city topped discussion at this retreat. FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello, represented by his Chief of Staff, Bashir Meiborno, reiterates that as one of the fastest growing capital cities of the world, there is the need for more commitment from the city developers and managers towards addressing identified grey areas.
Look at the role of FCDA. How do you see FCDA going to next 10 years, 20 years? What role is it going to play? So that will help you in looking at what to amend to the FCDA Act, so that FCDA will not die.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration has over the years embraced all reform programs of the federal government, including executive orders.
Executive Secretary, Federal Capital Development Authority, Shehu Hadi Ahmad, says despite challenges of contravening structures distorting the city master plan, measures are being evolved to meet up with the requirements of developing a befitting nation's capital city.
What are the issues? What has been left behind? What are the mistakes of the past? And then what can we do to salvage the situation, to arrest the distortions, or to correct some of the violations? So what we are doing is just the start off. We have kick-started the thing.
As the new government is about to come, the management of FCD authority thinks that it's necessary for them to prepare a working document that can be prepared to help the new government. And luckily here, the board members who are the policy oversight body over the management are here.
Resolutions reached at this retreat will assist stakeholders reappraise contending issues with a view to addressing them in line with the dream of the founding fathers. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
The FCT Emergency Management Agency has called on residents of the FCT to brace up for the critical weather condition. This is as NIMET predicted thunderstorms and heavy rains in the coming days in the FCT and some northern states. According to the early warnings issued by NIMET, thunderstorm cells are currently observed over the northern parts of the country, including Borno, Taraba, Gombe, Bauchi, and Kano. The Director General FEMA, Dr. Abbas Idris, has therefore placed the search and rescue team volunteers and all other staff of the agency on high alert. According to a statement by FEMA, the current thunderstorm cells are expected to propagate easily to give thunderstorms accompanied with squalls to cities in Plateau, FCT, Nasarawa, Jigawa, Adamawa, Yobe, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Kaduna, Kano, and Katsina states in the next few hours. FEMA advises all business operators in the FCT to avail themselves of weather reports periodically for effective planning in their operations, adding that moderate to heavy rainfall could lead to flash floods, which usually affect the residents of the FCT. Dr. Abbas Idris appealed to residents to heed the early warnings and avoid anything that could lead to loss of lives or destruction of properties. He urged residents to always use the 112 emergency toll-free number in the event of an emergency for prompt response. The labor of heroes past shall never be in vain is a popular stanza of the national anthem, which proves that laid-down heroes' families and dependents have a better life and bright future. This resonated as the Military Widows Association, MIWA, launched and commissioned its mass transit. Cecilia Julius reports.
Hope has been restored for widows of fallen heroes whose tale of woe over the years have been heard. This is made possible as Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff represented, and other partners pledged commitment to support the Military Widows Association Mass Transit Scheme in providing succor for military widows.
The Nigerian Legion takes the welfare of the widows of our colleagues as its primary responsibility, and as such will continue to do everything within its powers to support them and their initiatives.
To my dear widows, I know what you are going through. I can tell I have a particular widow here now that has cancer, that she does not have money for treatment. She's here now. That Allah will come to our aid. But I can assure you, with what General Jibrin is doing with the military, they are talking and they'll certainly walk the talk. The tears of military widows' wives will be wiped very, very soon.
Those buses, once they are launched, the maintenance of the buses, and then the future of those buses, there's no how it's not going to wear out. So it's going to be a continuous thing. And I want to promise you here that you have got a partner in me, as the good Lord lives.
Goodwill messages as well as awards were presented to awardees for their immense contributions to the growth of the association. The vehicles were commissioned with a plea for more support from individuals as well as corporate bodies for the association to thrive.
On improving the health sector and the nursing profession as the International Nurses Week was flagged off in Abuja. Serafina Okon Umokwe has details.
Nurses play huge roles in business of saving lives against all odds, 24 hours and 7 days of the week, never relenting in caring for those in need of their professional services. All this is in remembrance of the birthday of Florence Nightingale, first nurse who brought about modern practice in nursing. It is against this backdrop that the Nigerian nurses set aside this day to honor her and likewise to appreciate themselves for their continued humanitarian works.
Nurses are great, they are caring.
These Nigerian nurses, they are beautiful, they are committed to their work, but government should do more to take care of them.
The chairperson of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwifery of the National Hospital, Abuja, Joseph Agbi, decried poor investment in the healthcare system and appealed for more funding of the healthcare industry.
There has not been that political will from the government side, if I may put it that way, and even individuals, those that are rich in quote, are not really looking at the area of investing in the health industry to actually make it look better.
We have discussed it with the Federal Ministry of Health. Always they will promise you that they are going to do some employments. But as I speak to you, we have not seen any concrete arrangement on the side of the federal government in engaging more nurses or more midwives to handle that situation. It is pathetic.
I am deeply saddened by what I just experienced. Women are in labor with just one midwife on duty. This is against World Health Organization's ratio of 4 patients to a nurse. Nigeria is fast losing this grip as Japa syndrome and brain drain seems to dominate the health space. And authorities are saying if it is not checked, it's a disaster waiting to happen.
While the Nursing Week draws attention to increase the numbers of nurses per patient in line with the required standards set by the World Health Organization, the period also afforded stakeholders to share opinions on how to tackle the challenges confronting Nigerian nurses, including the issue of capital flight and loss of competent and quality personnel. Standard training and equipment for improved healthcare services were itemized as critical to the development of the nursing profession. Serafina Okun Umekwe, NT News.
And that report by Serafina Umekwe sets the tone for the discussion segment of Saturday Discourse. And to talk further on this Nursing Week is Comrade Deborah Yusufu, Chairperson FCT, National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the news. Thank you for coming to NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Thank you so much.
Now let's get straight into it. We're celebrating the nursing profession, the week, of course, International Nurses Week, and the birth of course, Florence Nightingale was the person who brought the modern profession nursing into existence. Are we maintaining the standards in terms of facilities?
Thank you so much, our viewers. Firstly, let me start by congratulating our nurses around the globe and in Nigeria. I want to say a shout out to all nurses because this is the day we are always celebrating ourselves. It marks the birthday of Florence Nightingale, who is the mother of nurses and of modern nurses. Yeah. So now on the issue of the standard of care, yes, invariably we are doing our best. But the issue of facilities and equally equipment in the hospitals, that is the major issue that we are having in the hospitals. You agree with me that anytime you walk into the hospital, you will see our nurses and midwives working under an unconducive environment. Not only that, the issue of facilities. You mentioned facilities. Yes, facility is a building. But before you can have a facility, it has to be well equipped with standardized equipment that the nurses can use as a tool. It's not after, we are not after what we can get, but after what we offer to the client. It's very, very unfortunate that most times the nurses are found to improvise, or you always see improvisation, which is not good for the profession, and equally it affects the standard of care given to the patient or the client in the hospital. So the improvement on standard of care, I will call on the government to make sure that at least all the necessary tools, because everything now is about it has gone digital. Even the modern equipment has been digitalized. We'll be happy if you can have that equipment. It will help in the work of the nurses, and equally the stress will be less on the nurses. And equally you are going to have a perfect system whereby you have to have a good record and equally effective communication, and then diagnosis of a patient will be accurate.
Okay. You just watched that report where our correspondent witnessed a 1 nurse to 6 patients, and you know the United Nations ratio says 1 nurse to 4 patients. That seems to be a mirage. Now, where are we getting it wrong? Where is the problem?
Thank you so much. I think the problem lies on everybody, but the government, and equally the nurses, and equally the society. One, the shortage of manpower is everywhere, especially in Nigeria. And Nigeria is one of the underdeveloped countries. We are having gross shortage of manpower, be it in the tertiary, in the secondary, and the primary health care delivery. We are short and grossly inadequate. The standard of World Health Organization is 1 nurse to 4 patients. But what we are having today, globally, or in Nigeria, is 1 nurse to over 170 patients.
Wow.
And then the nurse can never cope because she can't give her best. She'll be overstressed, and equally, she cannot perform optimally. All we are after is to give a standardized care whereby the client and their relations and the patient at the end of it all will be happy.
Okay. Now we have this jackpot syndrome as a result of nurses leaving the country, you know, moving and relocating to other countries because of the better, will I say, working environment for them. Where do you see the healthcare industry going if this problem is not, or this challenge is not put in order, challenged by the relevant authorities?
Yeah, I think it will be, the government will do the needful. Of recent, I've seen them giving out reports about not allowing the medical personnel to move out of the country. But I want to advise, it's not about compulsion. Rather, they should use another way of being diplomatic. One, let's address the reasons why they are leaving the country. One, the push and pull syndrome, which is everywhere. And what are the push? The push is that unconducive working environment whereby nobody can perform optimally without equipment, as I have earlier said. And equally, the issue of emotional exhaustion. One nurse can never attend to 3 or 4 patients at the same time. And the nursing profession is about caring, holistic care, and individualized care. Normally, any procedure you are going to carry out, you must be 2 on duty, at least. But what happens in all the hospitals is that anywhere you go, you find one nurse attending to over 20 to 22 patients. How can that nurse cope? And equally, she has so many things to contend with. 1, the relations. 2, the other medical personnel issues, especially the push, so that our nurses will be able to be retained. But then they have the freedom of movement, which all of them are exercising. You can't ask them to go, but we're appealing